Hey, you might want to put on a helmet so it don't make a mess when I blow your mind.
Hey, how you doing today? Name's Gabriel, so make a move out the way. Hey, who you trying to be? I can barely walk straight, so don't follow me.
The finest insanity on your radio dial. The Flipside Radio Show.
Hit me.
So I'm here at Northern Fan Con's 30th annual, and I'm standing here beside the wonderful, talented singer, songwriter, actress, Alicia Witt. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Tired, but I don't know how you have the energy to do anything like this. But I'm exhausted.
I'm just full of energy from the show last night. I had so much fun playing my songs for the people of Prince George. Such a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And I should be tired right now, but I'm actually really wired from it still.
Yeah. You performed in front of what I heard is a very good crowd, a responsive crowd. Had a great time. Everyone I've heard from since that performance last night said that you're just phenomenal. And you were nice enough to invite one of our local artists up to the stage with you as well, Willie Kuklis.
Yes.
So, overall, what was that like for you?
Well, it seemed like a no-brainer, honestly. I met Willie on Friday when I first got here. He was milling around the convention, and he's friends with James Douglas, who is with me here at the convention, my liaison here. And so we were introduced, and I always love to discover new music, and I found out that he was a singer-songwriter. Mm-hmm. So I checked out his music on Spotify yesterday morning as I was getting ready for the convention, and it was fantastic. I really loved it. Mm-hmm. And when I saw him here yesterday, I just asked if he would be willing to get up on stage and play a song for us. I mean, it seemed like the most obvious thing to do. And I almost felt like it was my favorite song of the album that he played, which is called Home. And we almost got to where we could do it as a duet a little bit towards the end of it.
That's cool.
I was just starting to learn the chords, picking it up as he went. But he's fantastic. I love going to new places and discovering local artists who are just amazing, and he's one of them.
So, for those of the uninitiated, people recognize you from Dune and, of course, The Walking Dead, that you are a singer-songwriter. You perform as you go on the road. What can someone expect to hear from your music?
I always think that for people who don't know the music, if they like Sarah Bareilles or Ben Folds or Elton John, Billy Joel, Carole King, that sort of piano-based singer-songwriter, they'll probably enjoy my music. The new album that I'm working on right now, which I just did a Kickstarter campaign for, is called 15,000 Days, which is the length of time I've been on the earth. And it's produced by Shakir King, who did the recent James Bay album. He's worked with Ingrid Michaelson and Kings of Leon and all sorts of amazing artists. Okay. So the new album is actually going to be quite a bit more pop-based, but they're all still piano-based songs, so there's a heavy piano theme through the album, but with that sort of pop current vibe to it, which I love. And I often play solo piano and vocal shows, which is what I did here in Prince George last night.
How long have you been playing piano?
Since I was 7. I started as a classical piano player.
Really?
I competed for many years, and I did it very seriously. I was taking 4 piano lessons a week at one point. And then when I was about 14, I decided to really focus on the acting and played piano for a living for many years as background music until I got my first job on a series when I was 18 and quit that job.
Oh.
Quit my day job.
Well, at least, a lot of people, the only thing I could really relate to is myself. I used to play piano as a child as well, but unfortunately I kind of let it slide. You've stayed with it, you're passionate with it, clearly, and it's still so much part of your life that you have that incredible musical skill that so many people out there just desire to have, wish they could have, and you've carried that throughout your career, even up to this day.
Yeah, but a lot of it is my conviction that it's one of the things I'm here to do. And writing music wasn't something I did a whole lot of when I was studying classical. So the classical training has provided me with the skills I need to write the songs, but writing and being disciplined about consistently writing and being brave enough to play those songs in public, that's a whole new thing for me.
Really?
Yeah, only like the last 8 years, so...
Really?
Yeah, it's very different than like a classical recital, for example. It's a whole different thing.
Being creative as opposed to being repetitive, I guess.
Yeah. But also being very personal. I didn't write the classical pieces.
Oh, okay.
And these are stories that I either experienced or that are about my observations of other people's experiences. So it's a super personal way of connecting with somebody.
Do you ever get tired of people recognizing you for all your television and film work?
No.
No?
It's a huge honor, and without people recognizing me, I probably wouldn't get to keep doing it. So,
That's true.
no, it's never a bother, and if anything, the fun thing about the length of time I've been doing this and the number of different roles I've had is that when someone approaches me, I never know what role it is they're going to recognize me from.
Really?
There isn't one big role that people know me from. Like at this convention, it's sort of being advertised as Walking Dead and Dune, but so many people have come up to the table and they've never seen either of those and they know me from something else.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the one role that you've had so far that was absolutely the most fun?
Probably The Walking Dead.
Really? Why is that?
It was just so challenging. It's such a different part than anything I've done before. And it really allowed me to delve deep into the mind of somebody else. There's a movie I did called Fun when I was 18 that is also up there. That was at the Sundance Festival. That was my first big lead role. And I was on Supernatural this past year, a few months ago, and that was also in that category of parts I could really sink my teeth into.
Where can someone find you online when it comes to your music?
Go to aliciawittmusic.com, or you can just search Alicia Witt in iTunes or Spotify or any of the places where music can be found.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. My latest single is called Love Anyway, and I'm donating half of the proceeds to Feeding America. And then my album Revisionary History was produced by Ben Folds, and that's out there and out in the world, so
I'm going to be
very
picking
proud
up an
of it.
album myself.
Thank you.
No, thank you. What can we expect to see of you on the small screen or the big screen in the future?
I'm in the new Twin Peaks, which is coming out in a few weeks, and I'm on a new Kathy Bates series called Disjointed on Netflix, coming out in August.
Anyone who knows me knows that, above all else, I'm a massive Deadpool fan.
Okay.
Have been for years. And having said that, with the movie coming out, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Visually striking, and the poster itself, of course, really spoke it all because it basically took a snapshot of what happened, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Every poster that came out during the marketing campaign by different artists was Deadpool. It was the epitome of Deadpool, and
Right.
I think it was brilliant. It was very independent, which the movie was anyways, so I don't think you're going to see this kind of marketing campaign for most mass-produced motion pictures. I got lucky. I didn't even think I was going to get the gig.
Well, first of all, let's introduce yourself.
I'm Diana Greenhalgh. I am a professional comic book inker, not a tracer.
Yeah.
I also edit comics. I ran a publishing company for a few years. And before I got into comics, I was a freelance pinup illustrator. So that is actually why I didn't think I'd get the Deadpool gig, was because I draw pinup girls. Deadpool, sure, sexy in a few ways. But it wasn't quite up my alley, and I honestly didn't think I'd get past the pitch stage.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and when I'm not doing any of that, I make movie posters, obviously. I do props for TV shows, and I do licensed illustration for trading card sets.
That's so cool. What initially got you into this industry?
Storytelling. I've always created and illustrated my own stories even when I was a little kid. I've got notebooks just filled with written tales and poetry and prose and illustrated adventures. I mean, that and I had a habit of drawing on things I wasn't supposed to, so it was a good outlet to...
You're referring to a graffiti?
No. I mean, like the typical parents have white leather interiors in their vehicle, and I find a ballpoint pen, and I'm like 5 years old, kind of thing.
Oh, that type. Okay.
Yeah, like a 78 Oldsmobile with white interior. Yeah. Walls, furniture, all sorts of stuff. So my parents would put me into summer art programs to keep me occupied and out of trouble.
That's smart. That's actually really smart.
Well, I was Mensa when I was a kid, so I needed to be kept busy. That was the only way I could keep going. Otherwise, I was liable to drive people crazy.
I need stimulation.
Yeah. So I did everything from summer art programs to summer science programs. My dad's parents were very big on exploration and learning outside of, just the typical standard education and stuff like that. So they take me to museums and art galleries, camping, hiking, anything they could think of just to get me out there and into different stuff that I might not normally do. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they weren't around to see me do this, but I think they'd be really happy with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, any parent would be proud of the work you're doing.
Oh yeah, my dad's a total geek. So we're Doctor Who, Star Wars, Batman, Superman, X-Men, all of that. We get to enjoy that together. So
nice. I'm looking at, of course, the classic Deadpool movie poster, which you were commissioned to illustrate.
Fox had somebody scouting Artist Alley at a show in Los Angeles that I was a guest at, and they didn't tell anybody who they were. They introduced themselves. They asked us questions, and whoever they picked, they emailed after the show to ask if they would be interested in being on a short list for the possibility of pitching to do movie posters. And a few months later, they emailed me to ask me if I was interested in Deadpool. I was like, okay, yeah, I might as well give it a shot. I kind of panicked and didn't hand in any pitches until the day before the pitch deadline because this wasn't up my alley. I didn't know what to do. I didn't think I'd get past it. I had a huge attack of nerves. I pitched them like 6 different ideas, and they came back and asked me to do the one from the trailer because they liked the ideas I had that involved the fourth wall, which, of course, he breaks in the trailer.
Right.
Yeah, so I redrew that one, I detailed that one, and it had to go through different stages of approval. Start to finish, pitch stage was end of November, and we finished Christmas Eve. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I didn't actually do the colors for it. I had to hire a colorist because I didn't have a tablet to color digitally, and so my friend Blonde, who colors for DC Comics, actually provided the colors for me. Yeah.
You are connected.
Well, I've been in comics professionally for about 12 years now.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a small community. Everybody knows everybody else. It kind of becomes a bit of an extended family at times.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but actually the funny thing about the Deadpool poster is it was my first movie poster. I thought I was just designing it. I didn't know they were going to release the actual artwork. I'd never done anything in film before outside of acting, and so the background is actually just a screen cap from the original leaked footage as a placeholder for the background that we didn't have time to paint in. But they were okay with that because they own the footage anyway. So it was really neat to see, and they tagged me on social media and stuff like that, and it kind of went viral, so that was a very new experience for me too. Comic art doesn't typically go viral, and it kind of flies under the radar even with comic fans. There's only so much coverage it gets and stuff like that, so for something like that to just go all over the world was really, really cool to see.
It's a tribute to your work as well as the fandom behind Deadpool and that entire universe as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, even though it's not something I normally draw, I mean, I put as much work as I could into it. I tried to make it look its best. It doesn't look anything like the rest of my work because of that. I have friends who do the Deadpool comics, and I'm very familiar with the characters, so it kind of was an inspiration. Yeah.
What is your favorite type of media to draw? Or illustrate, I should say. Draw is probably not the correct term.
Pin-up girls.
Pin-up girls? Really?
I was drawing pin-up girls before I got into comics. I was a tomboy. All my friends were dudes. So it was just natural, and I like the fact that I can go from anywhere, from real-world character designs to totally fantastical creatures like elves and fairies and stuff like that. And I just like working with the feminine form. So
It's much more curvy.
it's easier to draw, yeah. I had a lot of trouble with muscle placement with male characters because everything's so much more defined and women are just round.
I'm not arguing. Not arguing at all. Where can someone follow you on social media? And what projects are you working on next?
I am on Facebook at Diana Greenhalgh Art. It's my Facebook handle. I'm on Instagram at MechAngel. I'm on Patreon to try to get back to creating the original pinup art and illustrations. Is patreon.com/mechart.
Okay.
It used to be my nickname before I got into comics. So, and I'm on Twitter under my real name. I live stream on Periscope sometimes, which is owned by Twitter, and it uses the same handle as my Twitter. So, I'm working on 2 comics right now for a screenplay writer. One of them is White Lily, which we kickstarted the printing of the first issue, and we're starting production on issue 2 right now. And I am editing and inking that one. And we just picked a penciler for his second project, and I will be editing and inking that one as well. So it's going to be an urban fantasy, kind of like Underworld meets The Great Gatsby.
Nice.
I made sure to put in a lot of pinups for her to
for me to have some fun with.
There's a lot of full page stuff.
A lot of magic and fantasy. It's going to be a lot of fun to work on.
Nice. Once again, here at Northern FanCon. This is the 3rd annual Northern FanCon 2017, and one of the most impressive booths here is by far Pigtails and Power Tools. And dare I call you the mastermind behind everything I see in front of me right now, Ansley.
Yes, that's my name. Yes, that's my name, Ansley.
How are you today?
Doing pretty good. I just had a lovely lunch and just hanging out and talking shop with other fellow builders.
So you are an incredible cosplayer, not just for the fact that clearly there's modeling background, but also the Metroid, Samus, right?
Yes.
Yes. That is just a phenomenal piece of armor and an incredible piece of technology because it is detailed, it is intricate, it is massive, and you sport that thing like no one's business.
I try. Yeah, so Samus's suit, it's so intricate and large, and a lot of people previously who had seen do her suit would be missing quite a few elements and pieces. My current suit, my Samus suit that I have and I created, is actually based off of the Metroid Prime 2 and Prime 3 Corruption Varia suit that Samus wears. In that design, there are lots of elements that I've seen that actually a lot of people have missed, one of them being her ribs. Samus has a very, very triangular shape, and actually her shoulder width and her rib width is not possible. That is not how humans are built. I'm sorry, Nintendo, but that's not anatomy. And so when creating it, and when I was kind of getting a design for Samus, I was like, okay, I want that effect. That needs to be there. If I want to look like Samus and have my costume be very accurate, I wanted to try and replicate that as best I could. So I actually built a pair of false ribs that stuck out from my costume, so my arms are at this weird angle, and then the shoulders themselves has a very cone cylinder-like area for the biceps. And so I was able to actually hide my arm in pretty well, which gave me the illusion of having a much, much wider shoulder, broader shoulders, but actually I'm this scrawny petite girl.
Scrawny petite girl. Okay. So cosplay, clearly a passion of yours?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? How long have you been in it?
I've actually been doing this only for about 3.5 years.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Do you have a history of costume building or design or anything like that? Because you do phenomenal work.
Yes and no. My first official cosplay was when Salt Lake Comic-Con came into town, my hometown convention, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I got really excited. So I built my first costume and I went. I just did a lot of research trying to figure out, okay, I know eventually someday I want to build Samus, but as of right now, I have no idea how to do that. So I created Princess Zelda, just had a craft foam and a dress I got at a thrift shop, and I just went and had a nice time. But that was my only costuming experience I had making a costume before my actual cosplay builds I started to create. I grew up in a very artsy family and home, and people from just kind of different backgrounds a little bit. My dad does a lot of stained glass and woodworking, and on his side, everybody is like a master at woodworking and making benches, boxes, chairs, tables. It's really beautiful work that he can do. And my mom has actually sewn 5 wedding dresses.
Wow.
Yeah, she made them for her sisters. I have a lot of family, so when they all got married, she was like, all right, let's sew you your wedding dress. It's a weird tradition we have.
That's a beautiful tradition, though. I mean, people pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for wedding dresses that are made by who knows what company.
Yeah. I know it's a wedding dress, it's awesome, but I cannot justify that. I will not spend, I could spend $1,000 and go to Japan, or I could spend $1,000 on a dress I'm going to wear for not even a full day, like an evening.
Yeah. And then maybe bust it out for, like, weird special occasions.
Yeah.
So, do you build everything we see in front of you?
Yes, I build everything myself except for my wigs. I have a friend that I go to help style my wigs for because I don't understand hair. Like, I barely understand makeup. I like to do armor. That's what I do.
So that includes the suit you're wearing now?
Yes, the current suit that I'm wearing is the Zero suit from, the design is from Metroid Other M and Super Smash Bros. 4. So yeah, this Zero suit is actually a spandex suit that I made. I picked out the fabric that I liked. It's a shiny, wet, metallic look, which I thought looked pretty nice. Like in the game, that's kind of what it tried to imitate and looked. And with the look of Samus, I thought it went really well, rather than just kind of a more plain, basic spandex look. So I got a pattern that I liked that looked pretty good, and I modified it, and then I incorporated all my intricate pieces into it. I made my own pattern for my boot covers, so my boots and my shoes were accurate. And I did all the patches on the back are like appliques that I made.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, you're a seamstress? Is that a proper term?
Attempt seamstress, probably.
Seamstress? Well, you're wearing the suit and it's not coming apart, so...
Yeah, hey, so I'm doing something right.
And then you also build the armor. And
yeah.
I heard you talking about the LEDs that you have set up in the Metroid suit.
Yes.
And how you wanted to be as game and screen accurate as possible, and how, though other people did their best, you felt like it wasn't true to the actual source material. You went as far as to get the proper lighting and incorporate that into the armor itself. So, are you also an electrician?
I'd like to think myself that. Not really, though. Actually, at the time with Samus, there's still some things that are actually not perfectly accurate that I'm not entirely happy with the suit, but you can switch out pieces and change them over time. So with actually the LED work that I did for Samus, at the time, I did not know how to solder at all. I did not know electronics. I did not know about resistors. I didn't know about anything.
Okay.
And so I actually went to Michael's and Hobby Lobby, a craft store, and I got a 15 LED strip battery pack. They're pre-soldered LEDs. There was 15 of them in a strand.
Okay.
And miraculously, for every piece and area, there's 15 LEDs in each area. If you actually count, if you look at photos of my suit and you look at the legs, there's 15 LEDs like in each thigh and in each shin on both sides. And then for the shoulders, I have 3 rows of LEDs, and they're 15 as well. I got so lucky with that. Oh my gosh. Because I was counting the lights inside the game and like looking at the pictures that I had gotten from the game shots. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 15! Yeah! And I was like, heck yes, I can just do this. And so I just marked the areas where I wanted my lights to be and then drilled in some holes and then poked the LEDs through, and it was like, yeah, woo, called it good.
What material do you primarily work with when you're building the armor?
So when I built Samus, the primary material that I worked with was actually fiberglass resin and autobody filler.
Really?
Yeah, I used a program called Pepicura. Yep. Yes. It takes 3D models, breaks them down to a simpler polygonal form, and then it converts it to a pattern you can print out, and then cut out all the pieces, fold them, and then glue them together, and you have a 3D puzzle piece. You then cover it with fiberglass resin and fiberglass cloth to reinforce the skeleton and the structure, and then you use autobody filler to smooth it and to make it look more rounded rather than look more chunky.
Right, because Pepicura, I mean, you're piecing together a 2D printout of a 3D image, and you tend to get some ridges to it.
Yes.
Initially.
Yes.
Right?
You get, when you print it out, fold it out together, you get some pretty, like, Nintendo 64 looking stuff.
Polygons and angles.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful work. I gotta say, like, I'm completely and utterly blown away.
Thank you.
Do you go frequently? Do you tour a lot of cons?
I actually don't. This is my third convention. Back home, I actually do a lot of classes with a lot of the local shop owners. I'll do with Warbla mainly, and I've had some friends get together at my shop, and we just kind of hang out and make stuff.
Okay.
But I really enjoy going to conventions and talking with other crafters and builders, seamstresses, and being like, oh, dude, that's so legit. How did you make that? And exchanging notes and just learning the process about how people have made these. I really enjoy traveling to conventions and talking with other people, and the costume contest here was just stupendous. I was very privileged to be able to get to judge that and be able to look at everyone's work this year. And I was really impressed with what people had to bring to the table.
Are you much of a gamer?
Yes.
Yes?
A little bit of a filthy casual, but I've dabbled kind of in everything here and there.
Okay.
My two favorite kind of game series, Metroid obviously kind of is one of them, and actually Half-Life.
Half-Life.
I love Half-Life. Oh my gosh. That was actually the game and trilogy franchise that got me into gaming.
Really?
Yeah, I got to play. I had a friend back in high school, Curly. He had a copy of Half-Life, like the collector's edition CD-ROM of Half-Life.
Right.
And I saw him playing it in class one day. I went to a weird high school. Just run with me.
Doesn't sound weird. It sounds actually quite normal.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so he was just playing in class, and I was like, oh, what you playing? He's like, Half-Life. I'm like, what the heck is Half-Life? He's like, you call yourself a gamer, and you have not played the sacred disc. And so he's like, here, you know what? You can have my copy. I have another one at home. So I was like, oh, sweet. So I went home, loaded it into my crap top, and started playing that. That was a bad computer. The game's from 1998, 1999.
Yeah.
Lovely polygonal people in it. It was awesome. And so I loaded
great
it.
Storytelling.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was terrifying and exciting and exhilarating, but you were like so scared. Like, okay, if you're turning on this curtain, hear like the tie and the and you'd be like, oh crap, there's a vertigon, and you'd hide, and you knew you had like a 2-second charge, and then they'd electrocute you, and if you got out of eyesight, you're okay.
Yeah.
And it just made the game so much fun and intense and just awesome. And then Half-Life 2, like still today, is such a good game. Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 are such good games. I'm very passionate into the time and detail that goes into video games and to just how much fun they are.
And of course, it's heartbreaking that it seems like there will never be a Half-Life 3. We'll never find out what happened.
I can still hope.
I'm with you. I honestly am.
But right now, there really isn't really a need for Valve to create another game. They've been doing exceptionally well with Steam right now.
Yep.
And unfortunately, kind of the community and everybody out there is like, Half-Life 3 confirmed. We've really kind of put them on a high pedestal and high expectations, and unfortunately, no matter how good the game will be and is, it no longer can live up to the hype that all these people have created for it. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to pre-order it whenever, like 50 years later when Half-Life 3 comes out. Yeah. And I'm like an old gamer grandma, and I'm like, no scope, noob, and
What do you think about the entire stigma, or sometimes just the negativity, as to the battle of the sexes when it comes to gamers?
Actually, within this past recent year, it's been 50-50.
50-50.
It's been 50-50. 50, like, people are like, oh, the gaming environment is mainly dominated by men. Actually, within the last few years or so, and this last year, it's actually been like 60-40. It's been getting really close. Where it's still mostly dominated by men, but it's still primarily dominated by women. You also have to look at your market. Women and men look for different things when they're shopping, and so with a video game, naturally you're going to have the same effect. So I'm obviously a woman. When I buy a video game, I look for something that has a cool story, that looks pretty, and that's going to be easy for me to get right away. Like,
simple learning curve.
Yeah, a simple learning curve. Because if it's like getting super intense and just weird, I'm like, what the heck is this? Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop now. And so, like, for instance, for me, a lot of Nintendo games I've really enjoyed. I've really loved Nintendo. They make really good quality stuff, and I like a pretty good chunk of their titles. But I have a hard time with some Blizzard games, like especially World of Warcraft. I hop on every once in a while and I try to get a feel of it, but MMOs just really kind of aren't my feel. I love original Warcraft. I love Warcraft 3. That one's really fun because it's not an MMO. I like kind of more simplistic games and games that right away can become, that it's enjoyable off the bat. One of my favorite simplistic games that I really enjoy is Hyper Light Drifter and Shovel Knight. Both of them are indie games and they're actually pixel art. And they have such a simple concept. Shovel Knight is a 2D side-scroller where you run around, you're a knight with a shovel, and you're trying to find your lady.
Yes.
And you just run around, and you have a shovel. And the techniques for it that have gone into creating that game and the formula for making your character move around is fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. You can make a good game with really simple techniques. Take Mario, for instance. The core that makes Mario fun is not having Goombas. Nope. It's not being able to jump over the chompy flowers. Nope. It's running and jumping over blocks. And really, it's a little hard to grasp that. But when you strip everything away from Mario and you go down to that very core, that is what makes Mario fun. Metroid, very similar. Super Metroid, it's the environment of you running around in an area and exploration. That's all you need. That is the basic formula of it.
Where can someone find you on social media?
Oh, so you can find me on Facebook as Pigtails and Power Tools Cosplay Creations, and on Twitter and on Instagram you can find me as Pigtails Power.
Pigtails Power? Do
Yep.
you have a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream?
I do have a YouTube channel. It is okay. I upload stuff whenever I have the time and do tutorials there whenever I have the time again. But it's just Pigtails Power Cosplay.
So a few weeks removed from Northern FanCon 2017, and still some head spinning, and incredible amount of people have been involved with it. As well, the cosplays, the costumes, the devotion, the time, and the skill that went into so many different costumes is just mind-boggling. To this day, there's still a lot of feed on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that such of people still getting great love and respect for the cosplays that they've done. One of the people that was up on stage is Ashley, who I have in studio. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. First of all, we'll start off with how I met you and how I noticed you, is that you competed in the cosplay competition for the 2017 Northern FanCon. Was this your first time?
Yes, it was.
Yeah? And you entered in as?
I entered in as Theresa from Fable,
right,
and into the novice division.
And, okay, so what inspired you to do a cosplay from Fable? I love Fable. I'm a huge fan of the entire series, 1, 2, and 3. Not so much about the whole Fable Connect thing, but whatever. But what inspired you to do cosplay of Teresa?
Actually, it was Ben who inspired me to do it.
Mr. Ben Gibson.
Yes, he had asked me to do Theresa because he was going as Jack of Blades and he was wanting someone to go with him as it. And that's what got me into trying out to do Theresa.
Mm-hmm. If Ben influenced you to do Theresa, what were your thoughts on the character?
I actually really like her. She's quite an interesting character in the Fable games. She's a seer and she's immortal throughout the entire game, so you see her in nearly every game, and she always playing a part to manipulate what's happening. And I actually really enjoy her character for that aspect. She's kind of like a key player in knowing what's happening and what's going on, trying to push the main character in the right direction. And so it was actually really fun getting to come into her character and create what she was and become one with it.
Do you have a history or any sort of background in costume design?
I do. Costume design is actually what I started with. I design costumes and do special effects makeup.
Oh.
And
here in Prince George?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I quite enjoy it. It's what I did before I started making costumes. This was my first attempt really at making anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. First attempt and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So the transition of doing makeup and costume design to cosplay was almost fluid for you.
Yes, very much so. It's kind of easy when you're designing the costume. you see it in all aspects and form. To be able to take it and make it into something, it's the idea's already there. You know how the pieces fit together. You just got to figure out how to put them together.
So what were your thoughts about going into the actual cosplay competition? Because there's 3 different categories. And our friend Ben Gibson, he went into the Masters division, and he said even for him it was nerve-wracking. Like, he is an experienced cosplayer. He's done so many different things, but him entering in Jack of Blades in the Masters division for him was a jump because he officially hadn't won anything to that point. So he was literally going to the upper level on purpose, even though he really didn't have to.
Yeah.
You being the first-time cosplayer, what was it like for you going into the cosplay competition?
It was a little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie, because I hadn't done anything like that before. It was my first attempt at an actual costume as it is, and so when I went in, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I've never done it before. But once I started getting into it and they did the prejudging, I started getting really excited because it's like, yay, it's the first time I'm doing this. At least I'm showcasing what I can actually do and what I design. And that was the only thoughts that were going through my head, really, is at least I'm showing what I can do. That's all that really mattered. And it wasn't until I actually got up on stage that it felt like, oh, okay.
This is real now.
Basically.
Well, you must have been getting some positive feedback when you did the prejudging as well.
Yeah, they were actually surprised that I was in the novice category. They thought that I was in one of the higher categories because when they were going through the novice and I walked up there and they're like, are you sure you're supposed to be here? I was just like, yes, I haven't done this before. Because according to the categories, it's you don't move up unless you've had a certain amount of wins. So as somebody who hasn't done it before, you start novice, and then after your first win, then you move to journeyman, and then if you had about 3 or 4 wins, you move to masters.
Yes.
So I figured I'd start where I'm supposed to start. But I got quite the unexpected result there when they started talking about it, and they were surprised at the quality that I did, and it was interesting to listen to.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it made me feel happy, that's for sure. So I was just like, yay, I actually did something right.
Oh, God. So you placed first in the novice division. What was that feeling like for you?
I actually didn't believe it at first. When they first called my name, I was sitting there, and I'm like, wait, what? And Ben, he's like, Ashley, you won. I was like, I did?
This is real?
Yeah. I had a moment where it didn't click yet, and it was quite interesting.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your cosplay of Teresa was stunning, to say the least. And, I mean, standing right beside Ben Gibson as Jack of Blades was just absolutely, like, you could put that up on a poster. It looked that good. You guys both champions in your own categories. What is next for you? Do you have ideas for, like, are you hooked with the cosplay bug now?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah?
I'm already actually designing the next costume.
Are you now?
Yes, I am.
I would dare ask, but I'm willing to bet you're keeping this tight-lipped.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't really matter. I'm doing a Solus from Dragon Age.
Oh, really?
The Inquisition.
Yeah.
So, doing that.
Cool.
Pretty excited about it, actually, because it's more of a intense design. Like, it's very intricate in the details, and I figured I might as well try going a little bit of a higher pedigree with that.
Challenge yourself, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you don't learn anything.
Exactly. Gotta try.
Well, that's awesome. Looking forward to that. Do you consider yourself a geek or a nerd?
Oh, God, yes.
Really?
I was quite picked on in school for my nerdiness, not gonna lie.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm one of those people who hauled around my comic books and constantly was drawing and off in my own little world.
Well, you even brought your sketchbook in here just in case
I
I was going to make you wait.
Yeah. I bring that thing everywhere.
Oh, that's good. It's good to have.
Yeah.
So you draw, you illustrate, you read comic books, you're into makeup, costume design, now cosplay.
I also do tattoos and body piercings.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. You are just multifaceted.
Oh, yeah, well, I had to start somewhere. I started out with portrait art, and then I kind of moved on and tried everything else I could try, and made my way through it.
That's cool. You have a Facebook page that people can follow you on.
Yes, I do. It's Tainted Ashes, makeup and costume design, and it's fairly new, but
got to start somewhere, just like you said. Yeah,
needed to start somewhere, and I figured I might as well try to get my name out there because I do like doing makeup and I do like doing costumes, and since I'm a stay-at-home mom, I figured you might as well do it for a little extra income when I can, and it's good for Halloween time when people don't want to do it themselves.
Yeah, I hear you. You also have an Instagram account?
Yeah, it's under the same name, the Tainted Ashes Makeup and Costume Design.
Cool. When someone follows you on social media, let's just focus on Facebook because it's probably a lot more vast. What can they expect to find when they follow you on social media?
I do a lot of horror makeups, honestly, and obviously like any kind of game makeup and that kind of stuff. But I do like focusing on horror because I do a lot of haunted houses.
Really?
In the October time around.
Yeah.
And so I quite do those a lot, and I post how I do the processes of makeup and how I apply it all and show the end result. And yeah, so that's how I started out doing that, just so I can make a basis and start with trying to get on social media.
That's great. That's awesome. So follow Ashley on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Tainted Ashes. And here's looking forward to next Northern Fan Con, where we'll see where you place in the Journeyman category.
Yeah.
You excited?
I am actually really excited.
That's awesome.
I'm here with Allie Williams, only Alley Cat. Yes. How are you?
Good.
Good. This is your first jaunt up to Prince George as a part of Northern Fan Con?
It is. It's my first time further than Vancouver.
Really?
Actually, yeah. So it's like I'm getting more of a taste of the North, which is really cool. I was up in Vancouver in December for Snowcouver.
Really?
It just happened to be snowing, and I was like, this is amazing. But I was on my way to start my world trip. So this winter I did 2 months around the world, just traveled because I could, and went to 10 different countries in just under 2 months. It was great.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So let's get into why you travel so much. You are a professional cosplayer and, dare I say, professional model?
Professional model for sure. I guess I'm professional cosplayer now.
Okay.
Because I got invited and I compensated to come here. I'm like, this is great. Because I've only been doing this just over 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. I've been making costumes, for years and years, since about 3rd grade is when I think I made my first piece, these horrible pants that look like the Lisa Frank books. It was just I for some reason really liked the pattern, and I was like, this is adorable. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you guys again. Some people from the pre-judging. I'm actually judging today.
Oh, cool.
For the contest. So first time invited to a convention.
Yeah.
And then first time judging, which I'm super excited about. So very grateful. But yeah, I travel.
Okay.
Getting back to that.
Yes.
I travel because there's just so much world out there, and it's just so much you could open your mind to and see. And it's super fun to try new foods, to go see new places. And I luckily can travel with cosplay, but I can also travel on my own because I have a business. I'm a businesswoman, yes.
Are you now?
I'm a very business-minded person, yeah. I'm definitely an artist. If I had to put one over the other, I can put on the business hat really strongly. I run a children's character entertainment company out of Los Angeles.
Nice.
Princess and Me Parties. It's rated #1 by Google and Yelp again and again, and seen in family and parenting magazines and all sorts of stuff. So
cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. It took me 3 years of putting my dreams on hold to create a stream of income that I had control over so that I could continue for years and years to pursue my dreams.
Right.
Because we know it's the long haul.
What initially got you into cosplay?
I was dressed up to volunteer for some homeless kids. I know it sounds like something written.
Oh.
But I was dressed up as Elsa, my friend visiting from Vancouver. actually. She was dressed up as Anna for me. We were just going to go volunteer to visit these kids, triplets. We were having a birthday and they were living in the homeless shelter. She's like, we're already dressed up. There's a convention at Long Beach. We should go. And I was like, I don't know. It's like, I don't think I'll fit in. Like, that's really like out there for me. Like, I like costumes, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems so out there. She's like, just go. So she dragged me along. It was super fun.
Yeah.
We were there on the end of the last day. And everyone is giving us free stuff and so excited to see us. And I'm just like, what is this like community? This so kind to everyone. And I was like, I really do like this. So I worked on a couple costumes and whipped them together like almost overnight. I think it was in 6 weeks. I put together the Frozen Fever Elsa and went to my first convention by choice, which was WonderCon 2015.
Wow. So not that long ago.
No, just had my 2-year anniversary.
Go to WonderCon 2015, and you get to the door, and what was your initial thoughts and initial feelings?
It was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was a little bigger than the last one, but I also was so set on competing. Because I found out about that world basically late in the game for the con season, I missed signups. But I walked up and I said, hi, I know it's the first day. Let me explain what's going on. Can I please compete? And they're like, we'll put you on the wait list. I'm like, okay. And I showed them all my pictures, and I got to compete in my Frozen Fever Elsa, and it was super fun. And it was like I just didn't want to turn back. I come from Florida, which has a big pageant community.
Yes.
So I did that for a hot second. And so when suddenly my love of costuming and what I really loved about the pageant world, the presentation and the dressing up, took form into something a little different that aligned with a lot of other things I like to do. I was like, this is great. I think I'm going to stay here. Like, I think I'm going to just stay here. So, yeah.
What did you think about the idea of doing this where you have the prints, layouts, and then people starting to ask for your autograph?
It's pretty surreal. And
Yeah.
it's very exciting because I was like, I always had dreams of stuff like this. And I was like, I know I can get there. It just takes time. It takes hard work. But it's like my name's on this giant poster behind me with my face, which I like worked so hard to get this banner done.
Yeah. And
it was like printed down the street even because it was down to the last second working with all these moving pieces. And then I show up and I'm like, oh, okay. We have this giant banner with my face on it. Cool. Well, I'll just put the other one in front. It's great. But yeah, all this work that we normally have to do to prepare for a convention and then putting all the booth stuff on top of it was like very overwhelming at first. And I was just like, okay, this is what I want. And anytime I'm like in a good state of overwhelmed where it's like all the good things are happening at once, I'm just like, all right, just breathe through it. I'll find a way to make it work. It'll all be okay. You know, I gotta start somewhere and I can continue to learn. I can see other people that are here at booths who've done this before, like Leanna Vamp and Andy Ray, and I'm just like, and talk to you guys and figure out how I get to their level in a few years, which they've been at this for years. So definitely a learning experience, overwhelming and exciting and so surreal.
How do you like in Prince George so far, though?
It's great. There's lots of trees. It's my favorite joke.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I got picked up from the airport and I came rolling down the hill because I'm like, I have no idea what to expect. I said yes to this town I have no idea anything about, but let's go. And I was like, Canadians are trusting, it'll be fine.
This is very open-minded.
I am.
Lots of trees.
Lots of
Coming
trees.
down a hill.
Coming down a hill.
Yep.
And I'm like, what is this town? Because I have no idea what Prince George is all about. Each town has their thing. I'm from St. Augustine, Florida. We're all about the tourism and the history.
Right.
This town, I start talking to the guy. I'm like, so is it a steel town? Because the first thing I see is the railway line, and I see the steel thing where they make the steel mill. It's not a mill. It's
The mills.
The mill?
That's the first thing you see is the three giant super mills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, the first thing I saw that I could read was steel. And I'm like, oh, wow. Out in the middle of nowhere, steel. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
They all get to work and they just ship it off somewhere. And the guy's like, no, we get people coming in from everywhere, students especially, who work for 3 months, work this hard job, planting trees for reforestation. I'm an environmentalist, so this sounds amazing. I'm glad somebody's doing that, because the States, I feel like, maybe I just haven't heard about it. Trees just are like, oh, we're fine. I'm like, do you realize what trees do? Like, I live in LA, there's smog everywhere. Plant more trees. I've gone out into the woods and I've helped the tree people plant little seedlings. It's so much work.
Yeah.
It is, but it needs to be done. And so I was like, yes, I like this town. So, yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now, Prince George is very much a forestry industry. Tree planters all the way up to the sawmills and everything in between is essentially a lot of what Prince George is. Even our mascot, Mr. PG, is essentially a large statue made to look like he's made out of lumber. You haven't seen him yet?
I haven't seen this.
Oh
What are
my
you talking
God.
about?
Really? Traveling the world, coming to Prince George, blown away by what's going on so far, and also the people here, having a great time. What's next?
I have Palm Springs Comic-Con, Long Beach Comic-Con, and then hopefully Stan Lee's Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely at least going to attend as a guest to Stan Lee's, because we're planning on releasing our Fallout comic book.
Cool.
So we're making a Fallout fan art comic book about the origins of Nuka Girl. And it's all like original story based in the world, full of Easter eggs of Fallout, and we're just so excited. We wrote the story, we found a great artist. It's going to be 24 pages, all full color, a beautiful cover, and my favorite number, and coincidentally vault number 111, 111 panels.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's wonderful how it worked out that way.
I know, right?
Where can someone follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, Only Alley Cat.
Okay.
And my name is ALI Cat. Meow.
Meow. You have a website as well?
I do. Right now, just head on over to my Instagram and go from there. We do have a website in the works for the Nuka Girl comic book.
Okay.
It's nukagirlcomicbook.com. Easy. And I haven't actually updated my acting website in forever because people don't really use them anymore.
IMDb?
They use IMDb.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they can see me on TV, on Sci-Fi Channel. The movie I'm in airs all the time.
Wait, whoa.
I'm a pretty...
What?
I've done some acting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What movie are you in?
It's called Disaster LA, The Last Zombie Apocalypse Begins Here. And
I'm already sold.
As you can tell, it's a B-level on purpose
Okay.
zombie movie.
Yeah.
And it's about a bunch of kids who were at a party one night and a asteroid hits, and it sets up this really atomic layer and starts to transform people. So it's about these kids trying to get out of town, and I get to transform. So
Look at you.
I am the first person to transform. I die. I struggle, die, come back to life, go through this huge fight scene, and it's so much fun. So much fun.
Congratulations.
Thanks, yeah. And I'll be in a Honda commercial coming out soon.
Oh, cool.
Their Carnival Honda commercial. I'll be the balloon artist. So look for me, my blue hair.
Blue hair?
My balloon hair.
Okay.
Which I might have a balloon in my hair, actually.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. And then I just, I'm filming a guest spot on the show LA Macabre, which is on Amazon. So, award-winning show, second season. So, got that coming up. It's a pretty busy month.
Okay.
And then, finishing up that comic book. Very exciting.
Look at you, awesome everywhere.
It's just constant hard work and running my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and performing in it. And it's just,
Once again, your business is?
Princess and Me Parties of Los Angeles.
So we're 3 for 3. 2 Northern Fan Cons, 1 Vancouver Fan Expo.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here now with Andy Ray.
Yay.
So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So good to see you.
You're doing, once again, a phenomenal job. You have an incredible spread again.
Thank you.
I mean, we've been standing here for 10, 15 minutes. I've been trying to get this in because you're just so popular.
Well, people just really like to have cosplayers that they can kind of connect to and just ask questions about more so just things like crafting and whatever. I mean, I run a lot of panels. I do a lot of stuff that's very armor and crafting and cosplay intensive. So people have a lot of questions concerning, like, how do I do this, or how do I get this stuff, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm the type of person that feels like if you are in this, you should always be willing to share and to offer your help and guidance and everything through it. So, yeah.
Well, you are by far one of the most foremost experts when it comes to Warbler
Oh,
armor.
no.
Yes.
No.
I'm not just being flattering. Like, I'm looking at your work still.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know. It's just that everybody kind of has their thing in cosplay. Like, you know, there's some people who they just connect, like, with sewing. And, for example, they can make, like, the craziest ball gowns and corsets and beading, and they understand how to, you know, seam everything and do all this great stuff. And that's not myself. That's not what I was into. But for myself personally, I just really connected with Warbler. It's a material, I get it, I understand how to work it, and now that I've done it so much, like, it just feels very second nature to me to be able to work with it. So
last we touched base was in Vancouver, and
yes,
you were on your way to BlizzCon. No, you just came back.
I just came back from BlizzCon, yeah.
So was there any other cons and exhibitions that happened between Vancouver and now?
Not really. It was kind of, that sort of ended the con season for me at that point, and I decided to do Kelowna Fan Expo I had just between, but it's local, so it's like something that's just kind of close to home. I like to support the local community.
Right.
And then this one, I was thinking about going to KatsuCon, but I just ended up not doing it. It's like in February. I just needed a little break, but now the con season sort of officially started, so there's much more cons on the horizon, so hooray. Yay!
You sound so enthusiastic.
I am. It's super stoked. I love it.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you started doing something recently, or maybe I'm just late to the party, but I've started following you on your Twitch stream.
Oh, yeah. Twitch is only like a month old. I haven't been doing it for that long at all, but it's my new sort of evolution in the cosplay community. Like, I like doing guest things at conventions, obviously. It's fun. It's great, you know, to do that stuff. But I don't know. I just wanted to find something that I could kind of get greater connected to the community. I come from a really small town. There isn't as many cosplayers there, so there isn't, you know, you get some of these bigger places like Vancouver and Toronto and Calgary even, and you have huge communities where you all get together and share tips and tricks and all of that stuff, and I don't really have that where I'm from, so I wanted to create something that I could actually teach people all the stuff that I teach in my panels. Like, all the people that have come up to my booth and they have all these questions and they ask me how I did this or how I did that. It's exactly what my Twitch streaming is around. I stream on creative, and I do it because I want the community to learn. I want to share everything that I've learned, and having to scour the internet for hours trying to look for tutorials of this and guesswork and having things not work out. I want to try to take that out of it a bit and funnel people towards a place where they can kind of learn all this stuff together. So that's sort of why I'm doing that.
That's great. I mean, like I said, I've just been following you recently. Not only do you stream it on Twitch, but you're kind enough to post it up on YouTube as well.
Yeah, post on Twitch, and then I also do all of my videos just upload afterwards on YouTube. Just in case the VODs end up getting erased and whatever, I want to make sure that there's always content there for people to, if they have, you know, questions, if they have anything. And every show is completely different, so it tackles all sorts of different elements. I've done everything from resin gem casting to we did soldering last episode. I did all sorts of LED work. I taught people how to solder, and the thing is that I'm not I'm not an electrician, I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not a crazy engineer, so everything is done in the way that I understand it. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too. And that's sort of the motto of the show is, you know, I try to teach it the way a cosplayer would learn it, the way basic people would sort of pick this up. So everything that I teach is like really easy, simple to follow, and I also try to make it as cost efficient as possible. Like, you'll hear me say in my shows all the time, it's like the dollar store. Everything from the dollar store. Everything from Michael's. Like, super cheap. So, yeah.
The foam I'm wearing is from Canadian Tire.
There you go, right? Canadian Tire. It's a big one. Big one on my show. I'm like, go to Canadian Tire,
So we've had a chance to talk. This is the third time now. What is Downtime Andy like, or does she even exist?
Oh yeah, well, like I'm an elementary school teacher, so yeah, this is part of the reason why it's a little bit tight. The summers I sort of come out of my shell and I'm able to like get a little bit more cosplay done because I'm a substitute teacher. So the winter months are the biggest cold and flu season months, and that is when I am active constantly. So I am always getting called in every day. So I teach and teach little children's.
I had no
K to
idea.
7. Yeah, so that's what I do during the week, and then on the weekends I do streaming and I work on cosplay, so it's kind of a nice little balance there. But once the kids get out for the summertime, that's my time to spend the whole summertime doing this stuff, so it's my time to shine.
So do your students know who you are? Do they know they're being taught by Andy Ray?
Oh, I'm nobody. They don't even say things like that. That's ridiculous. Some of them do. I talk to some of them about it. Some of them do just find out just by process of elimination with certain things, like if they go to the Kelowna Fan Expo and then they see me there, and that like it's because it's a local convention or whatever. Like sometimes it can cross like that. But I'll talk to some students about it. Like I've had some teachers come up to me when they found out that I was a cosplayer, and like I had this one grade 7 girl, and her teacher came up to me and he said, she likes anime and comics and all stuff, and she's being picked on and bullied in class. So I was really hoping that you could go talk to her and show her some of your stuff, and she's wanting to get into cosplay, and all the other kids are saying that's stupid. So I went and I talked to her, and I like showed her my social media stuff. I showed her what I do. I showed her that, I've had the chance to travel all over North America and stuff because of this, and that, you shouldn't listen to people that are putting you down. If you love it, then do it. And she ended up actually making an Elsa costume and sent me pictures of it. And so I felt pretty proud about that she was,
That's so cool.
not listening to the haters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's nice to have someone, so close just to be there, to be like, no, don't give up on your dreams and don't give up on your passion.
Yeah, I mean, this whole, idea of the fan con and everything, I don't want to label it like this, but the perpetuated nerd culture is still becoming a mainstream thing, but there are still people that will be mean and will see this as weird or will pick on you or whatever. And so, especially when you're grade 7 and you're 13 years old and you're at an age that, can be pretty impressionable. I want the kids to realize that, if you like this stuff, then do it. And there is a huge community that is willing to openly accept you and for who you are. So
I don't want to keep you any longer. Trust me, I would chew your ear off all day if I could. But let's just go over the social media.
Yes. So if you want to check out my Twitch, it is twitch.tv/Andy Ray Cosplay. All my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter will be under Andy Ray Cosplay. So just add Andy Ray Cosplay. So those are just sort of my links. You can go and check that out. So, yeah.
And I really do suggest everyone check out the Twitch because you're so
you.
interactive with the Twitch feed. And
yeah, I try my best to answer all questions I can. We got a lot of got a good family starting on Twitch. Got a lot of really good people in there that are pretty funny and are really helpful. So, yeah, it's really good. It's starting to be pretty good. So
it's been a long time coming. I'm a huge fan of all of your work. And even the work that I had no idea was actually you. You're that much of a voice talent. It's absolutely incredible. I'm finally here speaking with the legendary Mark Meer. Sir, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
This has been the second year you've been at Northern FanCon, is it not?
Yes, I was here last year and enjoyed myself very much. So when I was invited to come back, I said, yes, of course. And apparently people still want my autograph after 2 years. Usually you let things lie fallow for a year. I don't know. Maybe I've exhausted the well now. Who can say? But I had a great time hosting the cosplay contest as well. That was one of the reasons I wanted to come. And I did it last year. This year, even higher caliber of costumes. There were some great ones to see.
Now, a lot of people know you as most infamously Commander Shepard.
Yes. Or famously, depending whether you were Paragon or Renegade, I suppose. Yeah.
But also, you've done so many different other voices, other characters throughout years and different generations of video game systems and whatnot. In fact, I was lucky enough to witness Kelsey from GameQuest. You autographed his Jade Empire.
I did, as a matter of fact. Yeah, and I in Jade Empire, back in the day, I played Zhang the Ox Carrier, who was an ogre. And I also played several members of the Lotus Assassins Guild, including the Whisperer, who was the sort of guardian of the Lotus Temple. So yeah, my relationship with BioWare has been a long one. It stretches back to the late 90s when I first worked on the Baldur's Gate stuff with them.
Wow.
And I was just in minor roles at that point. But I had the opportunity to revisit the Baldur's Gate stuff recently with Beamdog and them releasing the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Editions.
Right.
And so I got to be, whereas before I was sort of like, minor monsters and things like that. Although I did get to play Cyric, the God of Murder once. He was a very high status character, but not that large a role. He kind of didn't show up very much. But I got to be not one, but several party NPCs.
Really?
Ultimately, yeah, in the enhanced editions, I got to be Rasadin Bashir, who was the monk who was in the party, and also Baloth, the drow sorcerer. He's actually the bad guy in the Black Pits gladiatorial game that comes with the first one, but he then shows up in the main storyline as well. And I have actually cosplayed as Baloth. I hosted the Edmonton Expo cosplay contest as him. Beamdog actually paid for a makeup artist to do me up as a drow, and I had my friend Travis Shuchuk. He built the staff that's in the original artwork by Nat Jones in the game, and funnily enough, Nat and Travis are really good friends. So so he was able to bring his friend's artwork to life in 3D cosplay for him, and so really we all came out winners in that one. Really, we did.
Does voice acting ever get tiring? Because there's been so many other voice actors who say they love the work, but you're stuck in a booth for anywhere from like 6 to 10 hours and going over different reads of dialogue. Sometimes you're making random noises like you're dying.
Yep. Oh yes, the sound palettes are always fun. It'll be things like, okay, well now, here, let's do the sound of you hitting someone. Now you're hitting someone harder. Now you're hitting someone really hard. Now you're being hit. Now you're being stabbed. Now you're on fire. Now you're being stabbed with something that's on fire. So, yeah, they really want to cover the bases depending on the game. Whether you have like electrical attacks or freeze attacks or whatnot. So yeah, that can be somewhat surreal when you're spending the last hour of the day just doing noises like that without much context. But I wouldn't say it's too tiring for me because I do a lot of other things. I do voice acting, but I do a lot of live theater and things like that as well, particularly improvisational theater. And that by its nature always stays very fresh and is very engaging to you as a performer.
For anyone who is uninformed, give me the elevator pitch for The Irrelevant Show.
The Irrelevant Show is a hit radio show on CBC Radio. In fact, one of their top-rated comedies. It stars myself, Donovan Workin, Neil Grant, Jan O'Connor, and a variety of guest stars. We sometimes travel across the country, and we'll have a guest from whatever city we happen to be in. Just recently in Vancouver, we had Amy Shostak, formerly of Rapid Fire Theatre, as one of our guests. And Chantal Perron. We've had Carly Heffernan when we were in Toronto. And it's essentially a sketch comedy show, and Canadian sketch comedy at that.
Is this your monster? Is this your creation?
Peter Brown is our producer and sort of the head honcho, the guy who marshaled us all. But I have written sketches for the show, and I am one of the core performers. I've been with it right from the beginning, back when we were on Definitely Not the Opera, as a matter of fact. We were just a segment on DNTO. Yeah. And eventually we got a summer series, and then we've had our own show now for coming on to 8 years, I think. And one of the things about going across the country, we just did a little tour of BC, actually. We did shows in Vancouver, Victoria, Chilliwack, and Duncan. And it's nice to see that we have a fan base across the country because, of course, we're largely based in Alberta. We do have writers from Vancouver and writers from Toronto, but the cast is largely in Edmonton, and a lot of our recordings take place in Alberta or the Edmonton area. But it is nice to get out into the country, and then especially to see that we've been reaching folks and developing fans all these years.
A few things just from a fanboy's perspective. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Mass Effect. What did you think of the YouTube series when Gamer Poop, when they started coming out with?
I was a huge fan of Gamer Poop long before they did. When they did their first Mass Effect one, I was very excited. It was really? Like, yeah, my voice is in a Gamer Poop. This is amazing. And then, of course, they subsequently did many. I think they're up to maybe 10 different Mass Effect ones.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: I write Wheel Bang OK on Mass Effect memorabilia as much as I do anything that's actually in the game.
No
so
way.
I think Mass Effect fandom really embraced the Gamer Poop videos. And, deservedly so, because they're quite funny. I've laughed my ass off at some of the Gamer Poop stuff. And like I said, I consider it an honor to be in Gamer Poop.
What is in the near future for Mr. Mark Meer?
In the near future, the immediate future, I'll be going back home to Edmonton, where I'll be rehearsing for 2 plays back-to-back at the Varscona Theatre, which is our theatre out of Edmonton, recently refurbished, with the assistance, actually, of Mr. Nathan Fillion, who is one of our alumni, who was a member of our live improvised soap opera. He also did Rapid Fire Theatre out of the old Varscona. And so we've just been open a year now in the new theatre. It's amazing, and so I'm looking forward to getting to do a couple of plays there. One with a couple of playwrights that I really admire, Stuart Lemoyne, Teatro La Quindicina, and Jen O'Connor, who's also on The Irrelevant Show. So she's written a play, and I look forward to being in it. Then, of course, there's also the current season of The Irrelevant Show. We'll still be broadcasting new episodes up until June, I think. We finished our live recording, but they're still editing the shows from the BC tour, actually. There's also Caution May Contain Nuts, which is a sketch comedy show I do on APTN. We're coming back with our 4th season of that in the fall. Looking forward to that. We've got Colin Mockery of Whose Line Is It Anyway, and Kevin McDonald of Kids in the Hall as guest stars. So again, that is being edited and worked on. We shot that last fall, and I think hopes are high that we'll be recording another season of that in the fall. And, well, I'm a busy guy, let me tell you, because there's also video game news. I am in The Long Dark, which has just been announced this week. It's coming out on August 1st on Steam, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. It's a game that stars myself and Jennifer Hale, the female Commander Shepard. Also David Hayter, of course, Snake from Metal Gear. And, it's a very Canadian game. In fact, it has been described as player versus Canada, because you're essentially trying to survive in the frozen north with no resources or electricity or anything else. And
The Long Dark.
Yes, because of a geomagnetic event that's knocked out all power on Earth, so there's no rescue coming.
We're not just camping in Spuzzum.
No. It's like, so it's been in Steam for a while now in alpha, but we already, even though it's just a survival sandbox, it's not a finished game, we've got, I believe, over 500,000 players. And so the full game with the narrative mode, which will be released in chapters and seasons, much like Telltale did with the Walking Dead game. So the first episodes of Season 1 should be coming out on August 1st. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I finally get to do scenes with Jennifer. Because, we've known each other a while from cons now, and of course we were both Commander Shepard, but we never got to do scenes together because we were the same person.
Right.
Yeah, so we were in alternate universes, as it were, so it was very nice to actually get to do scenes with Jennifer now. And David Hayter is great, he's a very nice guy. I've met him largely through cons and video game awards and that sort of thing, so I look very much forward to working with him in this game.
Well, congratulations on all your success, sir.
Thanks, bud.
You're an absolute icon in many different industries.
Thank you.
And inspire people like myself to strive to get into voice acting.
Well, thanks a lot, man.
It is a bucket list, and sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bill from Punished Props.
And I'm Brittany from Punished Props.
How long has Punished Props been in existence?
I think I started the blog in 2010, I want to say. I'm guessing here, 2011 maybe? But that's how it all started, just a blog to keep track of all of our prop and costume progress.
Okay. And what initially got the idea started to create this?
Well, we were just into cosplay with our friends, and it was really fun. But I learned a lot from other people like Harrison Cricks and Mike Iverson and Sean Thorson. And I learned from them because they shared what they did on their blogs. So I thought, I should do that too, and sort of pass it on to the next person. So I started the blog to share what I learned, and then it just, over the next few years, blew up into a whole possible business venture.
So you guys are co-hosts with the entire brand name, I guess, of Punished Props, correct?
Correct, yeah. We are the only 2 employees. Brittany joined 2 years ago.
Yeah, we when the business transitioned into more instructional content and a lot of video content, Bill started putting out books. We wanted to get them into print and not just digital, so I hopped on board and helped out with that whole process. We got our physical books now. We're doing way more videos now, which has helped everyone. It's been super awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what got you involved with Punished Props then?
It really was a tipping point. I really find that I like helping people. I like supporting people, and I thought that Bill looked like he needed some help with his business. And it wasn't just commissions, because that's kind of how he started, was making space guns in his basement. But when he transitioned to doing video tutorial content, that was eating up a lot of his time, and he just needed another hands on deck to help with some editing, but also just getting the books ready for print. Now that that's all done, I can sleep.
Yeah. So you guys have this entire community now behind you, a lot of viewership, a lot of loyalty. You get a lot of common questions, I would assume.
We do.
Yeah. Give me some examples of just simple things that people ask on a frequent basis, but maybe simple to you, but not necessarily simple to someone possibly like myself, new to cosplay.
Right. So people are just getting new to making costumes and props. What they start to learn right away is just about every project is a prototype. Everything you're starting from scratch. Unless someone else has built it and has shared plans for it, you have to come up with all of that stuff yourself. So most of the time people ask us, where do I start? How do I make a chess piece for my favorite thing if all I have is flat material and I need to, turn that into some armor pieces?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just don't know how to take that first step. So we'll put videos together showing people how to make templates, how to make body forms of themselves so they can use that to build their armor on top of. And most of the time we sort of give people that first shove, and the content doesn't have to be super explicit because the people who are going to do it just need to shove, right? And we just hand them some good content that helps them along the way, and then they take the ball and they run with it.
Don't be afraid to fail, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Just foam is cheap, so just cut it up, glue it together, and if it didn't work, just try it again.
Have you ever come across any sort of build or project or anything like that that actually exceeded your expectations? We'll start with you.
Difficulty expectations or result?
Result.
I think the Skyrim Draugr costumes, we did those back in 2013. I learned a lot of new techniques during it, and I didn't know if any of it was going to work out. And when we put those costumes on and went to a convention, and we have these skull masks and these blue piercing eyes, it got a really good reception, way better than I ever thought we could get. And it's like, it's kind of an obscure character unless you played Skyrim, and they're the bad guys, and you kind of hate them because they're always in the crypts scaring you. So like being in a dark convention setting, like even if people didn't know the character, they loved it. So that was super fun.
Probably the District 9 gun. That was a couple of things going for that one. We worked with our friends at Tested.com, so like Norman Chan and Adam Savage and those guys. They hired us to build that for San Diego Comic-Con a couple of years ago. And we had a very short amount of time to do it. Brittany had just been hired had joined the team full time.
I don't get paid.
No, neither one of us gets paid. It all goes to the cats. But it was a really short-term project, and it was a crap load of work. But it was a build for with people that we like, and it was a project from a movie I really love, and it was really ambitious. And we built that thing in 3 weeks. We made a lot of molds. We made our first Matrix mold, which was 4 feet long. It was ridiculous. It was stupid big, but we did it. The two of us built that thing in 4 days. Just the mold took 4 days.
Oh, jeez.
And then the end result was pretty bang on. I got to take it to Comic-Con. I got to talk about it with Adam Savage. I got to show it to Sir Richard Taylor, at the Weta booth, and he thought it was pretty dope. And that was. It's hard to beat, right?
Yeah,
it's really hard to beat. A lot of work went into it, and there was a huge payoff. It was incredibly validating.
For fans of Punished Props, what can they look forward to in the near future?
Lots more videos. We have a couple of books in the works now. I actually just started writing another one, even though the other one I'm writing isn't done yet. Mm-hmm. So a couple of books in the works, and then we're going to be doing things like Dragon Con coming up. So we may or may not have some new costumes for that. We're not going to commit to that yet. But we would very much like to have new costumes for Dragon Con. Yeah.
And finally, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, where can people find you on social media?
PunishedProps.com. If you want to bug Bill on Twitter, it's at Chinbeard.
Chinbeard.
Yes, that existed long before Punished Props.
Confusion there. Yeah, fix that, but yeah.
Well, your Instagram, I think, is Chinbeard too.
It
so
is.
we'll work on that.
But if you just
It's
look
fun.
up, if you're on YouTube, you look up Punished Props, you'll find us.
Yep.
Give us a follow or a subscribe over there, and then start digging through our library of over 500 videos that we've done. There's a lot to learn there, a lot of good stuff.
Here at Northern FanCon, this is the third annual Northern FanCon, and one of the most sought after, at least in the past year. In fact, I could almost say 2 years because I've seen his name pop up on the list of requests for professional cosplayers, is finally here.
There's a list?
There's a list. There's a suggestion list.
That's really cool.
Lee Anna Vamp,
Yep,
right?
that's me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So, first of all, where are you originally from?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you get into cosplay?
So I started doing this about 10 years ago. I started attending San Diego Comic-Con for fun. And my first San Diego Comic-Con, this is going to date me a little bit, this coming San Diego Comic-Con will be my 16th.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been going for a really long time. And my husband and I started a show. It's called I Love Nerd Girls, where we essentially just did like highlights of conventions. So we'd film a con. And if you couldn't go to San Diego Comic-Con, you can watch our video and kind of see what was there. We talked to some of the actors, the celebrities, interview some of the cosplayers. It was just like a fun highlight reel of conventions.
Right.
Which that led into me interviewing cosplayers. And I was like, hey, that looks like it's going to be, that could be really fun. Let me try that. And so I made my first costume. I did a Chewbacca Wookiee costume.
That's
I did air
awesome.
quotes. You can't see that because it's an interview. And it was just really fun. I had a great time. And my biggest fear was I was going to walk in that convention. The whole thing was just going to fall off and fall apart. All my sewing would have fallen apart. But it didn't happen. And I had a great time. And it kind of started the cosplay itch for me. And ever since then, I haven't stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
So there was creativity just dormant inside you until cosplay came into your life.
I knew it was there. There was little hints. I've always been really interested in art and painting and crafting, but I just did it on the kind of small scale. I did jewelry and little things, and I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I could just not be good at it, and I won't do it again, but at least I would have tried.
16 years at the San Francisco.
This will be San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, this will be my 16th this coming year.
How old were you the first time you went?
I'm not going to tell you that. Did you really think I was going to answer that?
Well, okay, like you must have been just a child.
Well, thank you.
Seriously. My goodness. So I'm seeing this incredible display in front of you of all your prints and your photos and whatnot, and you have a vast selection and variety of different cosplays. But I also see that you tend to lean towards the vamp in your name, not just of posing, but also of that genre.
Yeah.
I see Vampirella, I see Freddy Krueger. Is that more your taste?
My two loves, I love Star Wars and I love horror. So scary, spooky things and Star Wars are my favorite things. So you'll see a lot of my costumes are in those genres. But I love sci-fi, I love fantasy. My love for all things nerdy spreads very wide.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Do you create all your cosplays?
As much as I can. At the beginning, I made a lot of things from scratch all by myself.
Nice.
As I started doing it more and got more busy, I commission a lot of things if I'm traveling or I need something for a shoot or a movie or a job. I work with luckily I have a lot of great friends that do costumes and props. So I collaborate with a lot of people. Maybe I'll make the costume, and for my Freddy, a friend of mine made my glove.
Really?
I work together with a lot of people, which is really fun. And he makes his nightmare gloves. He makes the most authentic, realistic Freddy gloves. And that thing's it's a murdery weapon. It's actual real steel blades that are very sharp and awesome.
It had to be authentic.
Exactly. Go all the way.
So you're also into acting as well?
Yes. So I did actually recently. So I was on a show on Sci-Fi Channel. It's called Cosplay Melee. Basically, Face Off. It's more reality based. So it's Face Off, Project Runway meets cosplay. So it's a competition show. Each week, 4 contestants compete for $10,000. So we just finished up season 1 of Cosplay Melee. I actually have a horror film that just came out in April. It's called Pool Party Massacre. It's kind of an homage to 80s horror, kind of campy horror. It's really funny.
Okay.
And that just came out. And lots of other projects in the works. I have a puppet show called Best Fiends Forever, and I'm the human, and we have a zombie, a bat, a ghost, and it's very fun. It's a kids show.
Okay.
So we do adventures and cooking and just fun things that kids would like to watch. So it's kind of the Muppets meets Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of different things.
And this is all going to be on like mainstream media.
So the Cosplay Melee is on Sci-Fi Channel.
Right.
The horror movie just came out. It just got released on DVD. My puppet show is on my YouTube channel right now, and we have our website and app coming soon.
Okay, well, since
All
we're talking
things
YouTube.
you can find on my website.
Okay, what's your website?
LeannaVamp.com.
And your YouTube channel is on that website.
Yes, it's just @Vamp.
You work with a lot of materials, and you've commissioned out piecework and whatnot. But is there, like, you see me, this is my first attempt at building a cosplay, right? Do you ever get the itch, or have you ever worked with other materials?
Yeah, I typically, when I do a new costume, I would say that my Siri was probably the one that challenged me the most because there was a lot of hand sculpting on the belt, a lot of leather work, and it was something that I'd never done before.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm very ambitious, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. That doesn't look hard. And then it is. Because I realized very quickly I don't know what I'm doing. But that's kind of how I've learned. My mom taught me to sew when I was little. Very basic, like hand sewing and using a sewing machine for a basic sewing machine. If you can thread a sewing machine, you can pretty much figure it out. You may not be the best at it, but you can figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of always started like that. Like I had the basic skills, and then I've just trial and error. I mess up, and then I figure out the better way to do it.
On your YouTube channel, what can someone expect to see with the videos that you produce?
Puppet Show is essentially the puppet show. I have a dedicated playlist for all of the puppet videos, but I do a lot of kind of travel vloggy con coverage videos. So it's basically documenting my adventures. If I go to Mexico, I'll do a video about my adventures in Mexico. So it's kind of a day in the life of me and the things that I do. Yeah.
Basically, it's a
vlog.
vlog.
Yeah.
Because you get a peek inside a celebrity of any type, right?
Yeah, a person and what their life is like, and crazy things that you do. So.
Are you taken back ever by the fandom? People recognizing you?
It's. What's really interesting is when I started doing this, I did it because it was fun and because I loved it, and I never thought that this would be a thing. I didn't think that I'd be traveling and meeting new people all over the world. I never even dreamed that is a possibility.
Or on a request list for...
Or on a list, yeah, that people would say, hey, we want to see her. And the really cool thing is being able to have an impact on people because... growing up, I never really thought I would do something that would inspire other people or have an impact on other people. So when someone comes up and says, what you do has inspired me to make my first costume or to try something new that I would normally never do, that's amazing to me, and I'm really lucky to have that.
Wow. Kind of got lost in the moment there. This is your first trip to Prince George.
It is, yes.
And what are your impressions? And you won't hurt my feelings about the smell.
No. The paper mill. So I've been in places where there's a paper mill before, and I have to say it smells like a giant fart.
Yes.
But with that said, after about a day, you don't really notice it, and it's fine. And it's rained. We were talking about this earlier. Someone was saying something about the smell, and I was like, I don't even smell it anymore. And he's like, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So,
You either could become accustomed to it or it rains.
Yeah, or one of the two, or you don't, and then you leave.
Exactly.
But it's a really, we were talking about this actually before we started the interview.
Yes.
It's a great change of scenery. I come from the city where there's traffic and there's a ton of people, and the one thing that I do love about every time I come to Canada is everyone is just so nice. Yeah. They may have no idea who you are or what you're doing, but they'll take a moment to stop and say hello and ask you about your day and ask you about what you do, which is really a good change of pace for me.
I've had the opportunity to go down to Los Angeles twice in my life, both times for E3. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this matters to you at all, but I got to say I was pleasantly surprised with how friendly everyone was treating me.
Yeah.
So America is not the Gong Show people might think it is.
No, and it just depends on where you are, and it kind of depends on, I'm a strong believer in you get what you put out. So if you're very focused on yourself and you're not seeing other people around you, and your concept of it is going to be, well, everyone's focused on themselves because that's the perception that you're putting out. Mm-hmm. You have a smile on your face, you're more than likely to get a few smiles back or a hello back. So,
other than your website, like if someone wanted to follow you on Twitter or whatever, what are your handles?
So on YouTube,